I am so happy that I just bought this car. It is red after all. Volvo XC90 V8 Sport. If Dad bod was a car, but your dad really liked Vin Diesel movies. In the past few months, we've all been changing, I'm sure. I've spent a lot of time with my friends and family responsibly than I have in the past. I had some inspiring trips, and I made a ton of sales on junk that I didn't need, and ultimately started downsizing this fleet of cars that I had brought with me to LA, and eventually moved to a larger apartment. So as I started to make progress in my adult life, I felt that I needed an adult car. Now this is the story of my search for that car and the other things surrounding the last 2 months of pandemic. The David Bello COVID diary, if you will. A quick trip home, mainly to take care of unfinished business and visit my folks. I visited some friends like Nick with his 2 Volvo V8 swap projects. I made a video with him on that. The link is in the description below. I tried looking at quarantine through some rose-colored glasses. Really glad that look didn't stick. Then Soren helped me sell the wine red 240 that was just sitting in my parents' garage for the past year. Hey, Albuquerque peeps, remember this car? Yeah, well, she's ready for sale now. Following that was a quick weekend trip to Lake Tahoe for my brother's 30th, which was excellent. The Prius, however efficient, was what I would call underwhelmingly average as an adventure car. The savings are unparalleled. The memories, forgettable. I spent a lot of time alone after that trip, exploring, falling in love with Big Sur, Pebble Beach, 17-mile drive, all of that in other parts of California. Seeing other couples quarantining together. I mean, together alone, what a phrase. Anyway, I digest. My lease was coming to a close at my old apartment, and the roommate population was going to double. So we started packing and searching for a new place. 2 weeks later, we had found the new place, and it was a perfect opportunity to begin downsizing my life and my belongings. Downsizing means reevaluating my financial situation, my futures. Much of the same way that Wine Red 240 was just sitting around, I had a school bus. The beautiful thing about getting older is you learn how to have other people do things for you. This is pretty much the visual definition of work smart, not hard. It was what I would consider my wanderlust adventure / worst case scenario / never truly homeless mobile. It was just costing me $100 a month to insure, and it was sitting in a friend's backyard for the last 12 months, so sell it. Go over it one more time. 5.7 liter Chevy Vortec. It's the Chevy 350 that everyone knows and loves. I think the transmission's the 4L60 or 460L, but 188,000 miles. It's great. She's a Bluebird Microbird and a beautiful platform. It's 100 square feet. It's my little Gordito. It's been a pretty reliable vehicle for the last 3 years. I've taken it on all the trips. LA right now is the best market for these schoolies, the conversions that people make out of old buses into RVs and campers. So I'm pretty happy with the money that I made. It was a very healthy profit on that vehicle. I used it to pay some of my debts, and at the start of COVID lockdowns, I had just put my black Z4 up for sale. But then this happened. Somebody came by, test drove the car, came right back and said, you know, some dash lights are on. And I went, there have never been any dash lights. 3 amber lights came on, and then I just tabled the whole project because I looked it up and I said, oh, it must be the steering angle sensor. It's at the base of the steering shaft for whatever reason on these cars. It's kind of a pain in the butt just to get the steering shaft out. It's not so easy because this is the motor that is attached right to it. Why we have electric steering. The E46s have them right in the clock spring, but no, had to put it at the bottom. And it's an expensive part, so tabled it for a while. And in the meantime, I kept working on the classic Volvos, which was the more pressing commitment that I had made. However, this black BMW was costing me also $100 a month to insure. Just as the work on the Volvo slowed down, I revisited the BMW sale right about the same time we started packing for the new apartment. And then this happened. I used some of the money from the bus sale, I bought the parts for the BMW, I replaced the sensor with great labor, took it to a shop. The guy just berated me for doing it myself, said I was doing it wrong, and I said, I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing. I've worked on cars before. And then he couldn't program the sensor, which comes uncoded. Very upset I wasted $100. I went to another shop down near work, and they said, you put the sensor in wrong. I hate kind of validating the first guy, but I ended up making a big video called Don't Fix Your Car Yourself, which was just 15 minutes of me putting myself down for having jumped the gun on a diagnosis for the immediate and more expensive part, when in reality, the real cause of those 3 lights was just a brake sensor, a $20 wire that had come loose from age and heat. And lesson learned, I spent about $700 on all of that. Now, the car was ready for sale. She cleaned up pretty nicely for being 284,000 miles, and she was up on market. The black Z4 Zoya, ready to go for sale. One more time for old time's sake. I got some really low ball offers. I had a baseline price of what I thought I wanted to sell it for, and I waited a few days, and then I got a full asking price the following weekend. There she goes, folks. She sold on the exact day that we were moving out of the apartment. Great timing. In the meantime, I would spend more time with the boys, or working on some little Italian thing, or visiting Bruce in the upholstery shop, with occasional weird little projects from things that I would find on the sidewalks. Or I would just sit with my thoughts on the beach. Almost immediately after the sale of the black Z4, a tree at my new apartment decided to fall right in front of where I parked the silver Z4. That's the nice one. I took it as a sign, and my eyes turned pretty green with some ideas. Not insurance fraud money, but just selling the car and then using that money to buy something bigger. Now, for whatever reason, the file in my brain labeled dad.exe unzipped a couple years early, and now all I could want for was big. Give me big. I'm talking 3rd row seating, 4-wheel drive, tree-proof roof, furniture-fitting, practical, large vehicle. Fuel economy? Doesn't matter. The Prius will bring up the fleet average enough to justify anything. Now, you dig deep in your head and you think of all the exciting big SUVs that you wanted, and you go and get one of those. Enter the longest short search for my next new vehicle. That's where we're going to pick up part 2. I'll see you then.